Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to make a ukulele case using pajama pants. That's right, pajama pants. And this only cost me $1 to make, and you can make it for $1 too, so I'll show you what I did to be able to do that. But in order to make the case, you are going to need a pair of pajama pants. Not just any kind of pajama pants. I wanted fleece pajama pants. When you're buying them, you just need to make sure that the leg is wide enough for the ukulele. It doesn't matter so much on size because I honestly have seen this work with size small pants too. For this pair I got purple and that's just what they happened to have on sale at the time when I bought it. So it doesn't really matter so much about the size. You need to make sure that the leg is wide enough and that this part at the bottom where your foot goes, that this is wide enough. So for instance, if you were to take your ukulele and you put it in there, it needs to be able to fit in there. The widest part of the ukulele needs to be able to fit through the leg. I know you can't really measure it before you go in the store, but just by looking at it, just know that it's wide enough. You don't want anything that's tapered, or if you want to measure your ukulele before you go, that's totally fine too. Another important thing to notice is not only do you want fleece, because fleece is going to be the easiest thing to use for the no-sew, you're also going to want something that's already hemmed, but not just hemmed, but that has like a pocket inside of it, because that's where the string is going to go. This one is hemmed on the inside and the outside. It's a nice little hem right here. It's beautiful. And you also want to make sure that there's space in between it so it's not like sewn together shut, because your string is going to go right through here. So I can tell just by opening up the sides that there is room for me to put ribbon inside it. So you make sure it's long enough for your ukulele too. The other thing you're gonna need is ribbon. And I found this ribbon, oh my gosh, I found this ribbon for 50 cents at Michael's. It's just basic spooler ribbon. It has like 6 yards in it, which is perfect because I don't think we're gonna need more than that. And it's 50 cents regular price at Michael's right now, but if you use a coupon, it is even less. Another thing about I didn't mention, you can find pajama pants for 99 cents, which is what I did. And then on top of that, whatever the color is, like whatever the special color tag is of the week, it's an additional half off. So if these are 99 cents and they're half off, you got a pair of pajamas for 50 cents, and then you also have a spool of ribbon for 50 cents, making the cost of the materials for this project a whole $1. Other materials you are going to need that you most likely have around the house is you're going to need a ruler, you're going to need a pencil, you're going to need a roll of tape, you're also going to need scissors. I do have fabric scissors, or you're going to need a pair of sharp scissors that are sharp enough to cut through fabric. I think that's all the basics of what you need for this tutorial. So yeah, let's get right into it. I am laying them down on the floor because I always like to do all these kinds of fabric cutting kind of things on the floor. Then you just need your ukulele. I'm going to use the soprano one for this. Now, should I use the concert? I'm going to use the concert. I got the concert. So what you want to do is right where this hem is right here, put the head of your ukulele right up to it. And then try to make all the rest of this flat as you can. I'll pull it up and I'll show you. There you go, now you can see. Just make sure everything is nice and flat and it's all good to go. What you want to do is take your ruler, let's see, we'll leave about 1.5 inches or so, maybe 2 inches if we're feeling a little wild, which for me is about right here. Leave about 2 inches from the bottom of your ukulele to right here. It gives it more space when you make the top portion of it. And then you want to add about another 2 inches. Allow yourself at least about 4 inches. In centimeters, you're looking at about like 10 centimeters or so. Just make sure there's enough space before you cut. And then I like to live on the edge. You can if you want to mark where the 4-inch line is, but I'm not going to because I like to live dangerously, so we're not doing that. So now my 4 inches is about right here. And then if you go up here, you can see right where the seam is, like in the crotch area, there is a seam. We are just gonna cut right in front of the seam. So your seam is here, you're gonna cut right in front of it because we don't wanna have to tie with the seam. I mean, you can if you want to, but I don't want to. So now we're gonna get to cutting. This is gonna be fun. So making sure you leave enough space before you start cutting the fabric. Go ahead and start cutting. Yeah. Oh man. And I'm gonna cut all the way across as even as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not going for perfect. You just have to make sure there's enough space. And then as you get closer to the seam, you're gonna slightly round it off a little bit. Like this. So if you get rid of this, this is what you got. If you want to make this a little bit more rounded, that's what I would probably do. I'm just going to do that right now. There we go. Now it looks a little more rounded. It does not have to be perfect because of what you're going to do next, which is you're gonna take your scissors now, and now we are gonna cut little lines right here along the edge. This is gonna make the fringe for the bottom of the ukulele bag. So what I would start with first is cutting on this fold right here. If you want, you can cut up about 2 inches. Let's say 2 inches from where you just, like 2 inches from right here, which is about here. Go ahead and cut. Go ahead and cut on that fold. So go ahead and do that, and then you want to go around the whole thing and cut. This will make your fringe because you're going to tie this together. So there's 1, 2. It's about 2 inches. It's getting a little bit longer as we get to the bottom only because this part is longer. So you basically just want to keep going, keep cutting. Each of these, they could be about 1 inch to 1/2 inch. Just make sure they're narrow enough because if you cut them too thick, they'll be really hard to tie, which I'll show you in a second. So now what you do is just go around and cut all the strips right here that you're going to tie. Also important to note, you don't want to cut all the way up to here. You want to leave a little bit of space. I would try to leave about 1.5 inches or 2 inches, at least 1 inch to 2 inches of a space. So my little fringe thing is about right here. So for now, just keep cutting. Okay, now I have cut all of my fringe. It is fringy, you can see. I don't want to lift this up because then it'll just get everywhere and it's going to be a mess. But each of these have a little flat right here. This is my fringe. Make sure you cut through both pieces of fabric. So now what you can do is take your ukulele off, and now we tie. So what you're going to do, I always put my foot on it like this. You can see my little socks, little animal socks. I always put my foot on here when I tie. This is what's gonna hold down the fabric while you're tying. I've just always done it this way. And you start from one end and work your way to the other. So here's your first fringe right here, and you're gonna just tie a knot, and then you're gonna tie another one. And then you go to your next one right here, and you tie it, and then you tie it again, and then you go to the next one. Little fringy little guy right here. You tie it once, and then you tie it again, and then you just keep on going throughout the rest of it. So I want to go ahead and do that. All right, it is all done. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat. As you can tell, mine is kind of bunched up at the bottom like that. That is the first step right there. And now you can test it by taking your ukulele, and then you can put it inside the bag. And isn't that so cool? It fits. No sewing on the bottom. It's all like cool and ruffly like here. So you got that. Now we just have to put the ribbon through it, and it's almost all done. All right, let's keep going. Yeah. All right, now we're on the next step. So we can take the ukulele out of the bag now because we know it fits and it's all good and it's perfect. It's beautiful. So now what you're gonna do with this hem, you're making cuts on the sides right here. We're gonna make one right on this side, and then we're also gonna make one right on this side right here. So make sure that you're holding your ukulele bag so that it's straight. Make sure the seam lines up. So in this case, the seam is the part that's right here. Make sure you're holding it like this by the seam. Here we go, we got it. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your scissors and you're just gonna cut. You wanna cut up to this. Do not cut past this. You just want to cut about until right here. We don't want to cut through the part that's already sewn because then this no-sew project turns into a sewing project, and we don't want to do that. At least not today, maybe another day. So take your scissors, cut my scissors right here, and you're going to cut it till about there. There you go. So you didn't cut through the seam. Luckily on this pair of pants you can see, because there's a little black, like little I think that's ribbon. There's a little black ribbon already on here. On the inside, you'll also be able to see where the seam is right here. You don't want to cut that part. Okay, so then you also move on to the next side. Now on this side, there is a seam that runs through this whole area. So you're gonna want to cut that whole thing out. So you're gonna cut it one side, Then you're gonna cut the other side because there is a seam that runs through the pants right here, which closes off this little like pocket. We don't want to close off the pocket because then we can't put the ribbon through it. It depends on the pair of pants that you have. In this case, I have to cut through them, so I'm going to. So then I'm gonna cut right about here. I'm gonna cut right about here. So I have this little thing, and then I'm gonna cut this out. We don't want that anymore. It's gone. So this side is gonna look like this, only because I need to be able to put the ribbon through it. This side looks a little bit more like this. If you want to cut them to make them both look even, that's fine. For the purposes of keeping it simple, I'm not going to. So now what you need is your ribbon. You only need one for this video. I just bought two because I felt like it. So I'm going to use this one ribbon. It is not thick ribbon, but you know what? It's still pretty sturdy. Like, you can't break this thing unless if you cut it, but you can cut anything and break it. So I wouldn't say that because it's thin, it's not sturdy. It's pretty sturdy. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil. You're going to take this a little piece of ribbon, and you're gonna take your tape, and you are gonna tape your ribbon, this ribbon to the pencil. There you go, you got a little ribbon pencil. So now what you're gonna do is take your little ukulele bag, and through one of the little opening pockets, right here, this little opening pocket, you're gonna take the pencil and stick it right in there, and pull it out, yeah. So then keep going. So you just did that bottom one, right here. So now I'm going to put it through this top hole and feed it through. There you go. So what you should have is one string went in, came out, there's a little gap here, and then you kept putting it through till it comes out the other side too. There you go. Now you're gonna wanna make sure this string is long enough. Don't cut it short. So you're probably gonna want a couple feet on it. It depends on what you wanna do with it next. I wanna make it like this other Waterman one that I have, where it's a little scrunchy top, and then you attach it to the bottom, like to the side. So that's what I'm gonna go for here. You can also make it, this other one that I did, I just made it so it closes like this. So I made it more like this, so it's more like a shoulder strap, like a little purse for your ukulele. You can do that too. Or if you don't wanna use the double string, which I'll show you in a second, you can also do it where if it's just a thicker ribbon, you just have one ribbon, there's nothing on the other side, or you can just, that'll work too. You can either use just one ribbon and either make it so that it's just like a little handbag ukulele case. Like here's the bottom, right? It's just like this, a little itty bitty handbag. Or you can do it so that if you pull all this down like this, it makes one giant loop. And then you can carry it on your side like this. So it just depends on what you want to do. For me, I'm going to go for the backpack kind of thing. So then what you want to do, make sure that your string is long enough. One way to tell is if, let's say you already put it behind your back, so it's right here. And then you stand up and take the string and make it so it fits near the bottom. You can see how much ribbon you're going to need. This amounts to about, I'm measuring it from after I squeeze it shut like this. And you measure from right here, right after you scrunched it, you have your little ruler. You got 1, 2, 3. So I'm at 3 feet. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that. Yeah, it's kind of hard to pull the tape off, but you know, we do what we can. And then you take your ribbon again, go ahead and tape that back on again. Now we're gonna do the other side. So then take your little gig bag thing again, and now the strings are coming out from this side, so flip it around, and you're gonna insert it on this side. So go ahead and do that, and pull it out, and then go ahead through the other side, get your pencil and put it through. Perfect, so now we have strings from both sides. And also with this one, I'm gonna measure it so it's 3 feet. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna cut that. Yeah. Okay, so now, got this. So now what you can do is let's go ahead and put the ukulele inside of it. Oh man, it fits, look at that. And then you can pull it shut. Here it is right there. And you pull it shut. Just like that. Isn't that so cool? And then like it opens up also. It opens up too. And then you can just pull it shut again. Perfect. Okay, so now that you have that, what you want to do is, since we measured each of these to exactly 3 feet, you know that they're the exact same length, just make sure you pull those strings so that they're even. What you're going to do is you're going to come down to the bottom of this bag, you're going to skip your first knot, and then you're going to see the second 2 knots, and you're going to take one of the ribbons, because you're holding the two sides, right? And you're going to, I'm going to show you. So here's your first knot. You're going to take the second knot and you're going to put it through the second knot, and then the third knot from that side, you're going to put it through again. So it's like this, right? So here's the top part of the ribbon connected to the top of the ukulele case. Here's the bottom part, and I put it through the middle of 2 knots. So not the first knot from the very end, but 2 in. So the second one and the third one. So now you're going to take the string you were also holding earlier, and you're going to tie a knot. Doesn't really matter what kind of knot, just make sure that it's tight and it's secure. So I have a knot right here, right? So that when you go to turn it around, we're at the top again, and it goes down and it's connected to the bottom right here, okay? So now you want to do that to the other side. Take your string, flip it around very carefully. You got your 2 ends, put it through the first knot, and then go ahead and put it through the second knot. You may have to fight with it a little bit, it's okay. Okay, so now it went through it, and then you take these, and then you tie them again with a knot. Make sure it's pretty tight, and you can flip it around. Now here you go, here's the top part. The bottom part should look like this, because it's tied. Flip it around your back, a nice little ukulele bag. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I hope this video helped you. If you liked it, I hope to see you all in my next video. And that's about it. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you later. Bye.